Hello guys, I hope you're all doing great. Well, it's been some years, literally, since I did my last video in English language, but I think that for this video it needs to be in English, so yeah. Um, in general, I'm making videos in my native language, in Greek, but I think for clearing up some misconception of and misunderstanding about Hellenic black metal scene to some people that they are not from, obviously from Greece. Uh, I think that I need to make that video in English. Well, the the thing, one thing that it's for sure is that the Hellenic black metal scene is getting stronger and stronger by the day. Judging by people on black metal promotions, for instance, that every other week we have a new Greek metal band making some black metal album and being released through the specific YouTube, presented by the YouTube channel. People liking it, and maybe they like the sound, maybe they find something exotic. Maybe people in that. Mostly are people not from Greece, to tell you honestly, because in Greece, people are still a bit skeptical about the Greek black metal scene of Greece, especially the older generations, for some reason. In the 90s, people were a bit split. Those that were listening to classic heavy metal and epic power metal or thrash metal, and those that were listening to black metal, they were something like but okay, stupidities of the 90s, all those things. Yeah, still some people they're not cannot listen to those things. They're just too skeptical about the scene. And I'm seeing people from all over the world. They like the sound, they like the music, and it's literally amazing. I like the thing. I like when I'm seeing that because for sure, the Greek metal scene nowadays, the extreme black metal scene nowadays, it's literally amazing with bands that they're hailing from the 90s and bands that they are newer, but also bands that they are newer and they're coming from the back, from the 90s. Like for instance, Euphoria of Mutilator, and on the first album they had Magus also, or new bands like. Already they have 3-4 albums out. Winter Eternal, that they released their new album, or even the old guard, as we say, Varathron, Rotting Christ, those bands, Magus, his new project's last band of Necromantia, amazing album. So to clear up those, you know, uh, type of misconceptions, first of all, yeah, the Greek black metal scene, as we know it, it started from mid-late 80s, and I think 93, it was that year that we had the debut albums of three of the most important bands. So 93, it was the year of the first Varathron album, the first Antichrist album, and the first Necromantia album. Before that, there were, of course, the underground demos and 7 inches and EPs. Antichrist had also Passes to Arcturo. The previous year, 92, there was the Varathron Necromantia split album. So yeah, the thing that many people don't know is that the Greek black metal scene of that period, the Hellenic black metal scene of that period, it was like a group of friends that they were. One friend was playing with two bands, with three bands. They were writing songs one for the other. So this is the reason why some bands of that period have the same feeling. They sound a bit the same because they were actually the same people. One of the most epic things I've ever seen in an older video, in an older, back in the day, it was on YouTube that someone was saying that Thou Art Lord sounds like Rotting Christ. Of course, because it was Sakis. And it was Sakis writing the music, composing the music. And also it was Magus. And back in the day, it was also Sakis and Magus in Rotting Christ. You know what I mean? So it, it, it had the same sound. because it had the same vibe, because they were the same people, composing the music. Another thing that it's most of the people say that all those bands, from 93, 94, 95, they have the same sound. Yeah, because it was the same person making the sound. It was Magus Daulov that he was making most of the times the sound. To whatever band was using Storm Studios or Moron Lave before that studios. It were the same studios, Moron Lave Studios and Storm Studios, the same studios. The thing is that Moron Lave, it was a record label also, and it was linked to a record store in Exarchia by George Osmak, a person that really helped a lot the Greek black metal scene and extreme metal scene of that period of the early mid 90s, because we have many releases on his label, from 7 inches of lesser known bands back at the day, like the Harmony or whatever, to major releases. I mean, the first Varathron album, the second press that came in Greece, because the first one was from Cyber Music. Then Molon Lave pressed it on vinyl the next year, I think. So actually, we can consider the first, vinyl press on Molon Lave. Celefy is a band that is Death, Doom, and all that stuff from that period. It was also in the same record label. And after the label closed, Sakis with Jim Mutilator from Antichrist at that point, they bought the studios, and Magus, it was right after he finished his sound engineering school. So he went and he made the productions, and that's why the same machines, I mean, the same, you know what I mean? I mean, the same studio, the same things. I mean, they were all together there. And that band was recording, and then they were coming out, and then the others were recording. Something like that it was going on. Also, the main thing that they say, the guys, most of the I'm seeing from the, back in the day, from the earlier releases, is the drum machine. In Storm Studios, there was a huge problem. It was small, so it couldn't fit a normal, drum set. So either it had to be played on trumpets or on, a normal drum machine. So it wasn't out of choice. It was out of necessity, because, as you realize, Greece, small country back in the 90s, there were the means to make, huge releases and all that stuff and blah, blah, blah. I mean, especially during the period that we had some issue here in Greece with some Satanists in 93, I believe, December 93. A group of people, anyway, that they were calling themselves, I don't know, Satanists or whatever, they violated and killed one woman and one kid, actually, 14 years old girl. And that thing was all over the news. I mean, theocratic, very theocratic society, Greece, okay, Christians and all that stuff. All that thing, all that, it escalated in people, and they were afraid of everything and blah, 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 blah. So go figure. Also to have the, those people that they were in the bands, how the people were looking at them. So also they didn't have the means, they didn't have the support, they didn't have anything. On the contrary, they were, hunted by people. I mean, Nergal, the band, actually got into jail because they had some flyers from a live show that they were about to give, and they had some, upside down cross and all that stuff. So the police got them inside for being Satanists, and I don't know, whatever. Or Magus was being, by the police. He's been followed by the police, because to find any links with that, with that sect of people that they killed and all that. Anyway, so they didn't have, literally, they didn't have the means for a better production. Now, the sound was distinctive, but all the bands would not play the same. I mean, Agathos, for instance, or Zemiel, actually the same people in both bands, they had different sound, both of them. Zemiel, the first Zemiel album was more into, venomy, blah, blah, blah. Agathos was more into more epic, more Bathorisk. Of course, Zemial, after some time, they went into more Bathory type of music and then into more progressive rock. I mean, Zemial is an amazing band. But not all of them, they were sounding the same. So yeah, maybe the two or three well-known, they were sounding the same because they were around the same period. And of course you have Necromantia, that Necromantia sounded like nothing ever existed. Necromantia was just, Magus is a genius, okay? Necromantia was something completely different. But yeah, those are the main reasons why the production is like that, why something sounds like something else, why this, why that. And I guess people that they haven't searched deeper into that, uh, they find all the things that, okay, it sounds like the same. Yeah, there are reasons that they sound like the same. They sound the same. So thank you very much, guys. And if you want some more videos in the English language, I'll be glad to make some about, I don't know, some special. I mean, the thing that I have to offer in the, you know, English speaking metalhead societies, just to show you some old Greek, you know, Hellenic black metal stuff and so on, to tell you some stories that I've been, you know, I know from all that period of time. And that's all. I mean, no matter what, I'm having, the channel is a channel Greek speaking, that mostly I'm talking about, you know, music and films, metal actually, and horror films and all that stuff. So, thanks.